morning.
Good morning. You can step forward. No, you can step forward. Just stand next to Mr. Brown. Come on up. You see how uncomfortable you make people? They're trying to figure out how far away they can get.
Are we playing the resolution or something? Looks like you're going to get right over there.
Hey, Sandy. Hi. Come on up. Thank you.
Sure.
Delegate. All right, I'll wait for my thumbs up. 1 thumb, 2 thumb, 3 thumb, 4 thumbs. All right, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
It is my pleasure to be here with all of you, and I'm very pleased to be joined as well by Delegate Sandy Rosenberg, who is my delegate and my neighbor.
Right.
I want to thank you for joining us, and before I take a few questions, I would like to say a few words about the crime fight. I have been consistently saying that in order for Baltimore to become a dramatically safer city, we have to build relationships with the community. Under my administration, discourtesy complaints against the police have decreased, and more residents are calling in to offer helpful tips to take guns and repeat offenders off of our streets. Tonight, the police commissioner and I will make our final stop in our public safety forum tour, where to date over 2,000 city residents have come out to join us in an honest and frank discussion about how we can work together better to make Baltimore a safer city. Businesses are also stepping up, and today I am joined by members of the Klein family beside me and behind me, owners of ShopRite. I want to thank the Klein family, ShopRite, and the Northwestern Police District for coming together to organize a Goods for Guns buyback event this Saturday. And I want to thank Father Sterling from New All Saints Catholic Church for serving as our gracious host for the gun buyback event. Goods for Guns will offer members of the community an opportunity to participate in a firearm buyback program in exchange for $100, a $100 ShopRite gift card. The first Goods for Guns event in the Northeast took nearly 500 guns off of our streets. So far this year, Baltimore City Police have taken over 1,000 guns off the streets, 1,036 to be exact. We've made 674 gun arrests, and we've seen progress as the number of homicides are down, as well as overall violent crime. However, the number of victims and the lives lost as a result of gun violence is still far too high in our city. We're asking for people to surrender violence as they surrender their firearms for an opportunity at a more positive future. This one-day firearm exchange represents a collective and interactive approach to addressing Baltimore's gun violence epidemic. Every gun that is turned in that is a gun that won't end up on the street, in the hands of a criminal or in the hands of a young person. I truly believe that this level of public engagement and public participation is the way that we will make Baltimore a safer city. We've seen it at other times in our history. We've made incremental change. That's something that I'm not interested in. I want us to be a dramatically safer city, and the only way that will happen is with firm partnerships and in firm collaboration with the community. We have another. I just mentioned your name, Father, and thank you so much for hosting the gun buyback. And I was saying as you came in that the only way that we are going to be a safer city is by doing it arm in arm. And again, I want to thank the faith community who has partnered with us in so many ways to reduce violence in our city. And this is just another example. And I want to again thank the business community. Specifically, I want to thank the Klein family, who's been such a devoted partner in this effort. They have sponsored many such buybacks in the past, and they are truly invested in the communities in which they operate. The new Klein ShopRite in Howard Park will celebrate its grand opening on Thursday, July 31st, and I know it's going to be one heck of a party because that community has not had a full-service grocery store in over 12 years. And I remember as a child walking from my grandma's to that grocery store, and when it closed, there was, it disrupted people's, shopping for more than a decade. And it is a solid community that certainly deserved better than what they had. And I love riding by the site to see the progress that's being made, and to see that, for the first time in quite some time, that community will have the quality of amenities that they certainly deserve. It's a major victory for the neighborhood, which has been fighting for a high-quality grocer for years. And it is a testament to the tenacity of the elected officials in that community and the community members who had to go to the drawing board several times because this was a complex project, and while through that time that the community was without a grocery store, the industry changed, and that model that existed in that location was not a viable model. So we had to go back and try to expand the footprint so we could get a model that would be economically viable and where we could attract a quality and both investor like the Kleins. I would now like to introduce Marshall Klein to speak a bit more about the details of the event and their ongoing efforts in the city. Marshall?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for the City Council and everyone for having us here today. I'm sorry?
No. Just try to balance out.
The Klein family is so happy to finally be part of the Howard Park and Forest Park and Glen Oaks community. We've been working on it for a very long time, not quite as long as the community itself, but for about 5 years. And, to coincide with the opening of our new store next week, I don't want to say we would like to celebrate with a gun buyback. We want to show our commitment to the needs of the community and the priorities of the community, and the mayor and the city council is trying to do our part to help stem the violence in Baltimore City and in the community. And we're just so happy to be there. We're so happy for the opening. The event's going to be, again, as the mayor said, on Saturday at New All Saints Church. The $100 gift card at ShopRite for any gun turned in. We had 450 turned in on the east side. We think we can do a little bit better than that on the west side and try to make the community a little bit safer. There hasn't been a program like this on that side of town in quite some time. So we're very happy that we're able to partner with the community and with Father Sterling and his church and with the mayor's office to get this event going. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marshall. And you mentioned members of the community. I know I mentioned Father Sterling, but we also have several other members of the Howard Park, Forest Park community. I'm very pleased at their level of commitment to this project and their commitment to making sure that this gun buyback is successful for many reasons. Number one, I think it's going to spotlight the work of the Kleins in the community to kick off their efforts in the area, but it also speaks to their continued efforts to want a safer community in Northwest Baltimore. So I want to bring up Mr. Jeff Brown, who has a track record of community engagement and business engagement that really inspired me as we started having conversations with the Kleins about ShopRite. I'm excited that he's back in Baltimore, and I'd like to bring up Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I want to start out by thanking the mayor, because not every city has a mayor or has elected officials that understand that the solution to a complex problem involves partnering with all different parts of society. And in this case, we have the police, the mayor's office, council, we have our private business, the Klein ShopRite, partnering, and the community partnering together, deciding that this is a strategy that will help us in the Howard Park neighborhood, help us reduce violence, help us reduce the risk that some poor young child will go into their parents' closet and find a gun that's loaded and hurt themselves or hurt someone else. And we're very excited that we could do our part as a business to help out here. In our experience is that there's always people have viewpoints on how to improve gun violence. I don't think that this is an end-all solution, but if we can collect 500 more guns and destroy them, which is what the police will do, I think we're all better off. And maybe the life it saves might be our own. The second thing is we've been working with the mayor's office and Baltimore Development Corporation for more than 5 years now. And we had the opportunity to meet the Howard Park community, and we have worked with them very closely. This is a different kind of relationship. We meet with large number of community leaders on a regular basis who had told us exactly what would help them in their community. And the Klein family has designed a 68,000 square foot store that I think you will find is one of the finest in any neighborhood anywhere in Maryland or maybe the country. And that store is going to open next week on July 31st. It's going to open at 1 o'clock. And I think you will find that people will come from all over to shop there. And I think what this accomplishes, well, we're going to have 250 to 300 new jobs. And of course, jobs are always very helpful. And I think if it's anything like the other Klein stores, you can make a career out of it. People will come here possibly as young men or young girls and start out in an entry-level position and learn the food business and have a chance to earn their own way in society. And I think there's going to be a great amount of success here. And the community has helped us pick the right people to work here. Because together with the mayor's office, with the community, with the Kleins, we want this to be a huge success. We want everyone to experience what they have been unable to experience to date. And I think we have hit it on all cylinders. The partnership's working. We look forward to working with the mayor and the other elected officials for a long time to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, with that, I will open it up for questions.
A question for the Kleins. How many of the jobs, you said 250 to 300, or what's the breakdown between permanent and part-time, and how many of those jobs are from the community?
About 40, sorry, I can come with about 40% of the staff of this store will be part-time. We are significantly higher than the rest of the grocery industry, which is like 18, 15, sometimes as high as 20%. Our stores tend to double that. This store is about 40% full-time. Of the community, I don't have exact statistics. We did bring a lot of our staff from our Parkville store and other stores, but we did hire, of that 250, I would say 80% from the local community to staff this store.
That's of how many? What's the...
Of about 250 people, and about 80% of that came from within, I would say, 5 miles of the store. Absolutely within 5 miles.
Thank you.
We'd like to, speaking of the grocery business, the Shop, Stop, and Save is now closed its last store.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll ask the question of both of you. This further exacerbates the problem of the communities, as you call them, deserts?
Food deserts.
Yes,
Mhm.
or, well, call them desserts, but anyway, deserts. And,
That's about right.
right. So let's address that first of all. And then I'd like to ask the question of the Kleins as well, because this is obviously your name of your business.
The access to fresh and healthy and affordable foods is something that has been very important to me, because it contributes significantly to the health disparities that we have in our city. It is understandable when you take a look at how difficult it is for some members of our community who live in food deserts to get healthy, affordable food. Then you understand the high incidence of diabetes. You understand the high incidence of high blood pressure, obesity. You can understand because you can understand the environment in which many people live. So Baltimore was the first city to hire a food policy director. We call her a food czar. She is innovative and aggressive in looking for ways to bring healthy, affordable food into communities. We're at the forefront of the work that is being done with urban agriculture we just announced today the expansion of a program that will that will give our city employees an opportunity to get fresh and healthy food through a CSA, weekly CSA. So this is something that is very important to me. I've been an advocate through the Conference of Mayors on increased access to fresh and healthy food. We've worked very hard with the Department of Agriculture to increase the ability for people who use EBT or food stamps to have access to farmers markets and fresh foods. We've done the work ourselves to make sure that they have that access. We've been promoting that access to fresh and healthy foods and working diligently. We have partnerships with urban farmers and corner stores, and we know that there's still much more work to be done. One of the things, and I mentioned this a few months ago when I talked about the ICSC conference, that was a priority of mine, the food deserts, and having meetings with grocers and trying to get them interested in Baltimore. And as I said, after I came back, there's a lot of interest from national grocers in Baltimore. They see the food deserts as an opportunity, and we are committed to working with them to try to make it work so we can eliminate those food deserts. And in the meantime, work to continue creative programs where we can still give people access to fresh and healthy food until those standalone grocers are able to open.
Are there replacements in line to take over some of these locations?
So I will say that during the meetings that I had, the closing of those grocery stores was not news. I mean, this was in the industry. People knew that they were looking to close, to sell, and many people were looking at their locations as possible new locations. Do I have an announcement of a new store today? No, but I can say that there was significant interest during those meetings, and we're going to continue to pursue reputable, quality, viable grocers that can bring the services that the community needs.
To piggyback off of James' question, the General Assembly passed a bill this last session creating incentives for food deserts. Are you hoping that will kind of ease the pain a little bit?
Definitely. I mean, I'm very pleased that we're joined by Delegate Rosenberg, and I see that Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark has come in as well. You know, this is about coming together with all of the assets that we have, all of the incentives, and we have our own that depending on what part of the city that you go in, different incentives are available. We're going to put it all on the table and try to do the best that we can for communities. My goal is to support Baltimore's families, and you can't support your family if you can't feed your family, and that's why eliminating food deserts is important to me.
Could we ask one of the members of the Klein family? Obviously, you folks made the decision to locate in an area that was, everybody's very happy to have that grocery store. What factors into this decision about where to locate a store? I mean, what are you looking at?
Well, in retail in general, population makes a big difference. In the food deserts in Baltimore, there is a very large population. I think that's a plus. Of course, income makes a difference. And what's interesting about Baltimore is a lot of the neighborhoods that don't have grocery stores actually have a pretty good household income compared to other American cities that have this problem. And I think that's two pluses. The next thing is infrastructure. We like to be on an artery that has public transportation. Generally in a food desert, half the population takes public transportation to get their groceries, so if you don't have that, that's a problem. Of course, in the Howard Park location, it has a plentiful amount of public transportation. And of course, half the people will drive their car, and you need to be on a good road. And of course, the Howard Park location has that. And matter of fact, a lot of the remaining food deserts have natural assets. That's all the plus. I also personally think the community makes a huge difference. If the mayor and council want this to happen, if the community thinks that this is important, they have a consensus, I find that it makes it a lot easier because we're all working together. And Howard Park's an example that although we had number of difficulties and complexities in getting it done, we knew that we were all going to figure it out together. And as problems came up, we did exactly that. I think Baltimore is very progressive in this problem, solving this problem. And I think you will see over the next several years that you'll see more grocery stores like ours, maybe even us, go to solve more of these food desert problems. I have found, and if you ask people in the community, the stores that generally close have had a long period of time of disinvestment. Yes, there are financial reasons why it is difficult to operate a store in a food desert, but when you combine the difficulties with disinvestment, it doesn't lead to a good business outcome. And so I think it's a chance for the mayor and council to decide which grocers they'd like to be in which areas, and for the grocers to get good community feedback on what's needed, and to put the right solution that will be around for many years to come. I think that's exactly what we did here.
Thank you. Sandy?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. The Klein ShopRite is not the only thing that's happening at the corner of Liberty Heights and Hillsdale. Calvin Rodwell, right across the street, is working with Klein ShopRite. They're in the beginning phases of their renovation, their planning process to build a new school as part of the $1 billion school reconstruction program that the legislature working with the mayor enacted last year. And then in addition, the mayor is committed, I believe it's $5 million for money for all the neighborhoods surrounding all the schools that are being renovated. And we have a theater across the street, the Ambassador Theater, that the community, I believe, is very interested in making that once again an asset. And we have the example just this past week in the newspaper of what's going on North Avenue with abandoned theaters. So working together, there's a lot of work that we're still going to get done.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions?
We have other questions on other topics.
Okay. Thank you all so much.
When I just wrote down, was that employees or is that I drive by. Okay, seriously, thank you. Good.
I know.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Mayor, I had a question about the red line and the issues that are coming up now about local contributions. And apparently the MTA, DOT is saying that Baltimore would need a local contribution of $200 million. And the issue is whether it be in kind or in cash. And tell us what your thinking is on that, and whether there might be a possibility of a cash contribution that would be needed.
My commitment is to doing everything that we can to make the Red Line project a success. I think every vibrant, forward-looking city has is a connected city, and has opportunities and continues to look for ways to increase opportunities for public transportation. And we desperately need that, that east-west corridor to connect many of our public transportation hubs. So I'm working very hard. I've been an advocate for the project, and we are working closely with the Maryland Department of Transportation to establish not just what the level of contribution is, but how we're going to get there. My team is committed to getting that done. We meet on a regular basis, and I think we're on the right track.
What is going to get done? I mean, it's at least $200 million, right? What's the number?
I can get you the exact number.
The number from MTA is 200. And how would you meet that 200?
It will be a combination of what you would call in kind and cash.
How much cash are we looking at?
I don't have that exact number in front of me.
And where does it come from?
Are we looking? Yeah.
Yeah, it will come from multiple sources. Again, I don't have that specific information in front of me. I can supply that.
Well, many people are concerned that there might have to be some kind of a tax or fee increase to cover the amount.
Yeah, I can understand that concern. That is certainly not our goal. As hard as I have worked to reduce the burden of property tax on our residents, I'm certainly, don't see an additional increase as the first option.
Another problem is that, as I understand it, if the project goes beyond present projections, and they have been going up, the federal government does not cover that, so that would mean a more burden. So that $200 million runs the possibility of it getting higher. And how is the city dealing with that possibility?
Yeah, we're very aware of the potential of increasing costs for the Red Line. That is why we've been very intentional about our work with the state and with the federal government to make sure that the project is moving on target. Because every time there's a delay or there's a perceived delay, it can cost the project costs more. We are aware of the potential for the increase, and we're doing everything that we can to avoid it on our end, with the understanding that this is an important project, and if that is a bridge that we have to cross because of increased costs, we'll cross that bridge, but we're not there yet.
County Executive Kamenetz has had a different take on this, does not want to use cash for the county share, and has objected to the $50 million contribution. How does that figure in with the city's dealings and with the overall success of the project if Baltimore County appears to be balking at the project?
Yeah, this is a regional project that I believe will benefit Baltimore City residents and Baltimore County residents. The good thing about having independent government is, he doesn't tell me how to reach my goals, and I don't tell him. The same meetings that I have with the Department of Transportation, I know that his team is having those meetings as well. And my hope is that they'll come, as we have worked to resolution on, on numbers and how we achieve those numbers. I'm sure they'll do the same.
So you're confident that a plan can be worked out, a satisfactory plan?
I believe that he's a dedicated public servant that wants to do the best for his constituents. I think this Red Line project benefits Baltimore City residents and will also significantly benefit Baltimore County residents as well. So I am confident that, as he has in the past, he will look to find a way to best serve his constituents.
Right, and September 1st is the deadline in terms of getting
I don't have that in front of me. I can certainly provide that information at a later date. Anybody enjoy Artscape?
Oh, great.
Did you?
I was just asking whether they were on. Great.
Couldn't go.
Why?
I was following the West family.
What was your take on it?
I said, as I was talking to my team, I was like, I don't know who was on good behavior, but I felt like, we were definitely on Santa's good list with the weather, because when we've had some really rough years, where like we lost at least a day or maybe more. I think last year, the year before, with the with the rain and thunder and lightning, and in some years it's been so hot that it makes it almost impossible to enjoy, and it just seemed like the right combination of things to make it a really vibrant few days. And I just get impressed every year that it's not a stagnant festival. Every year there's something new, there's something different, there's something that makes you say, this is very uniquely Baltimore, and it makes you really proud. So I was pleased to be able to get down there.
Do we know how many people?
I don't know if we have an estimate yet. I can certainly get that information to you as soon as we do. But it looked like a whole heck of a lot of people out there to me.
Just slam people, really.
We probably paid for the weather early on the day of the announcement. That was like an Artscape day.
Yeah, I remember that. It was not a pretty picture.
Do you think that Artscape should be expanded by another day, or do you like it the way it is?
I think I like it. Well, I'll say this. I don't think another day, because, you understand, we all know how disruptive it is. Yes, it's a great economic impact, but you know, the party has to end at some time. But, you know, I like the late night parties, and, you know, when the late night parties get good till 11 or whatever, you know, I'm sure someone will say, well, why not just go 24 hours?
But there'd be a problem with the curfew in the future, wouldn't there? People,
Not for you.
after-